Good evening, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Terror Radio Podcast. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. This is a podcast dedicated in bringing you the best of horror and thriller, old-time radio broadcasts, as well as original stories. I am your host, Keith, aka the Radio Show Nerd, and this episode is going to be a little bit longer. I guess this is my way of making up for the debacle that happened with last week's episode. So, the title tonight is Child's Play, and that's very much a play, no pun intended, on words. So, without further ado, this is Terror Radio. The two radio series highlighted tonight are two gems from the 1980s, CBS Radio Mystery Theater and Nightfall. Our first radio play is entitled You're Going to Like Rodney, and this was first broadcasted on CBS Radio Mystery Theater March 10th, 1980. Following that is the radio show Gerald, and this was first broadcasted on Nightfall, January 8th, 1982. Now, you all know the drill. Sit back, turn down the lights, and listen to You're Going to Like Rodney, followed by Gerald.
Degrees. This has been the Night Report for Monday night, March 10th. This is Dick McDaniel saying good night for the Night Report news team. Stay tuned for the CBS Mystery Theater and our next news at 12 midnight.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. Nice to have you with us again here in this vault of vampires, this haven of horrors, this mansion of mystery. For within these halls today, we're going to share an experience of chilling proportions. That of babysitting. Now, I don't really mean babysitting, since our young charge is 12 years old, hardly a baby. But you know what I mean. Taking care of a 12-year-old can be more trying than taking care of an infant, particularly such a child as this.
Ed, have you looked deeply into his eyes?
No.
I have, several times. I felt as though I were staring into a deep well, an abyss, into nothingness.
Oh, come on.
And there's something about the way he stares at us, a deliberate stare, as if he were trying to hold us with his eyes.
Our mystery drama, You're Going to Like Rodney, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Bob Juran and stars Tony Roberts and Patricia Elliott. It is sponsored in part by Sunkissed Growers Incorporated. I'll be back shortly with Act One. It's sometimes difficult for childless couples to put up with the activity of youth. They lead a life where everything is orderly and comfortable. The intrusion of a child, even for a visit, can upset the harmony of their settled lives. So it was with a certain amount of concern and yet a feeling of compassion that June and Ed Carpenter in San Diego, California, read the letter that arrived from Edgar's brother, George, a New York attorney.
Helen and I are asking a favor. For the past 2 weeks, we've been caring for a young boy of 12. A tragic case. His parents were killed in an automobile crash last month. He's been living with his grandmother, a neighbor of ours, and only 2 weeks ago, she died from a fall. We're taking care of him until I can settle things. He seems to have no one else.
Oh, what a trial for the child.
It certainly is. We're asking if you and June could possibly take care of him for us the second week in July. We're committed to attending the International Bar Association convention in Switzerland and can't take him with us. I realize you've not had much experience with children, but being my blood brother does create a bond of sympathy. Rodney is a special child, and I think you and June could give him the care he needs while we're away. It's only for a week.
I wonder what he means by special.
Bright, probably. He finishes, it will be a great personal favor to Helen and me, and I know the best for Rodney. Let's hear from you. Affectionately, George. Well, what do you think?
Well, there's no one around here for Rodney to play with. He'll be terribly bored.
Well, July's our slowest month at the office. I mean, I could take more time off. I could take him to some Padres games, the zoo, the beach.
I really feel we should help. Oh, of course. We can keep him amused.
I don't think it'll be too bad. Agreed?
Yes. And Mrs. Nathanson will probably come in to sit when we go to the club. She's always talking about her grandchildren.
Well, then I'll tell George we'll take Rodney.
We may even get to like him.
Oh, you're going to like Rodney, Ed. You can't imagine how much Helen and I appreciate it.
Well, we're glad to do it, George. Listen, you said Rodney was a special child. What's he like? What does he like to do?
Well, he's sort of the quiet type, you know. Hasn't been much trouble for us. We'll keep him indefinitely until I can settle things with the estate. There don't seem to be any other relatives. It's strange.
You said his parents died in a car accident.
Yeah, and I've tried to locate other family members, but there just don't seem to be any. His grandmother was apparently the only one.
Well, who took him to her when the parents died?
I can't learn that either. I was in touch with some of the neighbors in New Hampshire where his parents lived, but apparently they'd moved in only a few weeks before the accident, and no one knew anything about them.
So the poor kid has had a time of it. We'll take good care of him here.
We'll put Rodney on a plane to San Diego, and you can meet him at the airport, okay?
Okay, we'll be ready.
Thanks a million, Ed. I know you're going to like Rodney.
Oh, I wish we'd left earlier. The plane's in already.
Oh, so the kid will wait.
It may upset him not to find us there.
Look, we're in time. They haven't opened the gate yet.
I'm glad George sent a picture of him. At least we know who to look for.
Well, there probably aren't many 12-year-olds traveling alone on this flight. We'll spot them.
Oh, here they come now.
Hey, there he is. Rodney? Rodney? Here we are.
Oh, he sees us.
Over here.
He's a lot smaller than I expected. He looks awfully frail.
Hi, Rodney. I'm Uncle Edgar, and this is Aunt June. How was the flight? Fun?
Would you like a cold drink or something before we start home?
Well, at least he shook his head no.
He's probably terrified from the long trip alone, and we're total strangers to him. Well, when he sees his room and the swimming pool, he'll brighten up, won't you, Rodney? Well, shall we go home?
He's still in his room?
Yes. I'm really uneasy, Ed. He just won't say a word. While I was unpacking his things, I chatted and asked him questions, but he doesn't speak. And there was one suitcase he wouldn't let me touch.
Well, I wouldn't worry yet. He's only been here a few hours. George said he's the quiet type. Give him a chance to get used to us.
Quiet is right. Completely quiet.
There can't be anything serious. I mean, George would have told us if he had a problem. He's certainly not autistic.
No, he responds all right. He nodded yes and no. He shrugged. He just won't speak.
I think I hear him in the kitchen. I'll get him out here and into the pool. Hey, Rodney! Come on out.
Oh, you've got your suit on already. Would you like to swim?
Last one in is a rotten egg. Come on in.
Go on in, Rodney. You can swim, can't you?
Yeah, attaboy. Come on. Oh, there we go. Hey, get up on my shoulders now. I'll toss you. Oh, that's it. A strong little devil, aren't you? Here we go. Oh.
Ed, are you all right? Ed, what's the matter?
Get off.
Ed!
Get off.
Ed!
Help!
I'm throwing you the life ring, darling. You catch it. Hold on. Rodney, help me pull him in. Hold on, Ed. You're almost to the side. There, darling. Here, grab my arm.
I'm okay. I gotta get my breath.
Stretch out, darling. Face down. What was it? A cramp?
Lord, that kid is strong. I couldn't get out from under him.
What do you mean?
Oh, I know it wasn't your fault, Rodney. I put you up on my shoulders.
But, Edgar, he slipped off your shoulders.
No, he didn't. He was pressing down on me.
Well, there was so much splashing, I couldn't tell what was going on, except that you looked like you were drowning.
I think I almost did.
But he's not that heavy. He's almost scrawny, and you're 200 pounds.
I couldn't get up.
Edgar, he's gone into the house.
He probably feels guilty. I tried to tell him it was my idea.
Hello? Anything the matter? Oh, Mrs. Nathanson. Oh, please, come in.
Well, I was in my garden. I heard a commotion. Nothing serious, I hope.
Well, yes, almost. Here, darling, sit down.
Oh. Yeah, I was playing with Rodney and nearly drowned in the pool.
Dear me, how awful. Well, I'm glad to see you didn't. By the way, who is Rodney?
He's a youngster my brother in New York took in. He's 12. We're looking after him for the week.
Ed's brother and his wife are in Switzerland for a lawyers' conference.
Oh, yes. I was in Switzerland in 1903 with Mr. Nathanson. How did you almost drown, Mr. Carpenter?
I don't know. I was playing with the boy, and then I couldn't get my breath. I couldn't get to the surface.
Oh, curious. Your pool isn't that deep.
And Rodney's not that big.
Well, all's well that ends well. I'll get back to my roses.
Oh, Mrs. Nathanson, since you're here, I wonder, could we call on you to sit with Rodney, 1 or 2 nights a week when we go to the club?
Oh, but of course, I'd be delighted. You know, my grandson, Arthur, he's a 14-year-old. He called me the other day, all on his own, and it was just...
Would you like some iced tea, Mrs. Nathanson?
Oh, no, dear, thanks. I must get back. Glad it was nothing serious. Just call any time. I'll be glad to sit with Rodney.
Thanks so much. Well, I'd better go in and see him.
Yeah, and he probably feels that it was his fault.
Now, I'll talk to him. We've got to make him understand he's not to blame. I brought you some lemonade, Rodney. I know you feel strange here, and that's understandable. You've never met us before, but please, we're your friends. Rodney, let me ask you, can you talk and just don't want to, or are we trying to make you talk when you can't? You can shake your head, yes or no. Oh, you don't want to answer. All right, Rodney. I'll tell you what. While you're with us, you can do just as you want. We won't press you. And if you feel like talking, we'll be happy to talk with you. I'm going down and start supper now. We're having steak outside. I'll call you when we're ready. Rodney? What is it? Oh, you want to write something. Oh, good. Wait. Let's see. There should be paper right here. Yes, here, Rodney. A pad and a pencil. I'm so glad you want to say something. Take your time. If you want to communicate to us through notes, it's perfectly all right. Let's see. Rodney, what a horrible thing to write.
Your cat is going to die.
Why should he write such a cruel thing? I thought he was going to say thank you or something. I was trying to be kind.
Your cat is going to die. Strange, all right.
Do you think he means he's going to try and kill her?
Oh, come on.
Where are you going?
Going back upstairs and find out what's with this kid.
Ed, please, don't upset him anymore.
Well, he's getting me upset with that stony stare of his, mocking us with his silence. Look here, Rodney. What does this mean?
Ed.
Why? I want to know right now why you wrote this. I mean, there's the pad, and write your answer if you won't talk.
Ed, wait. He's crying.
Well, he's going to have more to cry about if we don't get an answer from him.
Rodney, what is it? You're so unhappy. You're sorry you wrote the note. Is that it? Look, he's nodding his head.
Okay. Take it easy, Rodney. I'm sorry I lost my temper.
Rodney, get into bed, put on your pajamas, and just rest. I'll bring you a light supper later. It's been a trying day for you. We won't bother you any more today. We'll leave you now. Okay? Okay.
Brother George sent us a handful.
I think you should get in touch with him right away and find out if this is Rodney's usual behavior. I don't see how they could have put up with this for even a few months.
No, neither do I.
Do you want to call him?
No, let's wait. I can't see getting George upset on our first day. Let's give it a chance. After all, we ought to be able to deal with a 12-year-old boy.
Maybe we were wise to wait. He's been a little better the past 2 days.
Yeah, he's getting used to us.
If only he'd talk. He hasn't even written anything since that first note.
Maybe he hasn't anything to say. We do the talking, and all he has to say is yes or no.
Ed, have you ever looked deeply into his eyes?
No, not really.
I have. Several times. I felt as though I were staring into a deep well, an abyss, into nothingness.
Oh, come on.
Mr. Carpenter. Mrs. Carpenter.
What's the matter, Mrs. Nathanson? You're all flushed. Here, sit down.
Oh, no, that's all right. I don't know how to tell you. I'll just have to say it. Under my porch this morning, I found your cat, Sylvester, dead.
It seems that Rodney's prophecy came true. He told the Carpenters the cat would die. But was it a prophecy, I wonder? Or did Rodney have something to do with it? He's such a strange youngster. Would he go so far as to kill an innocent little cat that belonged to people he hardly knew? I hope a similar fate doesn't await the other people in our story. We'll find out when I return shortly with Act 2. Overnight company can indeed be troublesome now and then, particularly when the company is a strange child who writes threatening notes. But then, who could be afraid of a 12-year-old child? But remember, Rodney is somewhat of a special child, an orphan whose parents were killed in an auto accident. I think we ought to have some compassion for the boy. But at the moment, the Carpenters and Mrs. Nathanson are lamenting the death of the Carpenter's cat.
There he is. I'm so sorry.
Are there any marks on him, Ed?
There don't seem to be. No. None at all.
Well, he might have eaten something.
He never leaves the yard. He couldn't have gotten any poisoned food.
Must have died last night. I'm going to take him to the vet for an autopsy. I'm serious.
I'll get a carton. I have one round back.
Do you think Rodney killed Sylvester?
Don't you?
I don't want to think that.
I'm taking Sylvester to the vet, and then I'm going to talk to that kid.
I'll come with you.
I don't know what to say to him now. You heard the vet. No apparent cause of death. How could Rodney be responsible for that?
Ed, we've got to stop blaming him and being suspicious of him. He needs some kindness.
Maybe you're right.
Well, look. What's that on the coffee table?
A paper. It's his handwriting. Look at this.
I told you so.
That evil little devil. Rodney? Rodney? Come down here right now.
What are we going to say to him?
Plenty. He's going to be around here for the rest of the week. He's not going to get smart with us. This has got to stop. Rodney? Come over here. Right here. Rodney, I don't know what you meant by this note. You didn't kill Sylvester. And writing a note like this is cruel. Don't let me see another note like this in this house again. You understand?
Look, he's going to write something.
Oh, good. Let's see what you have to say for yourself.
He's not saying much. 2 words.
Well, at least we're getting something out of him.
Well, what did he write?
What did I just get through telling you?
Ed, what are you doing? You hit him.
I'll teach this.
What did he write?
Here.
You're next.
You go to your room. Right now. No 12-year-old is going to intimidate me.
Go on up, Rodney.
He's a brat we're stuck with for the week, and he's not going to scare me with those threats.
Ed, please, calm down. The child's just being belligerent. You're going to antagonize him even more.
You're not afraid of him, are you?
I don't know. He won't open his door. We'll have to go without him if you still want to go.
We'll go to the beach instead of the zoo. I got a yen for some surf fishing. If he doesn't want a good time, the heck with him. He'll be safe here alone. We'll be back in a couple of hours.
Maybe I'd better stay. I don't care that much for the beach anyway, and, well, frankly, you deserve the relaxation.
He'll be all right. Besides, I thought you were afraid of him.
Not afraid. No. I feel sorry for him. He seems a terribly disturbed boy.
Okay, I'll go alone if you don't mind.
No, I'll pack you lunch. Maybe alone I can get closer to Rodney.
Hello? May I come over?
Oh, please do, Mrs. Nathanson.
Oh, well, I saw Mr. Carpenter drive off with his fishing gear. Tell me, what did you learn about poor Sylvester's death?
The vet couldn't say. Just no apparent cause.
Oh, well, that's strange, isn't it? Oh, but it does happen, I guess. Oh, by the way, how is the young man who's staying with you? I haven't seen him at all.
He's all right. He stays in his room a lot.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound natural for a 12-year-old boy. Is something the matter with him?
Well, we don't know. He never speaks. He writes the most ghastly notes. There seems to be something disturbing the child.
Oh, well, what kind of notes does he write?
Well, the first said our cat would die.
Oh.
And then he left one saying, I told you so.
Oh, dear me.
And then, right in front of us, he wrote, you're next.
Oh, well, maybe it's his way of attracting attention.
We don't know anything about him. Could he have killed Sylvester? Somehow?
Oh, that doesn't seem likely. What does Mr. Carpenter think?
Well, he thinks Rodney's just a brat. He doesn't take his notes seriously.
Oh, well, the child's certainly not going to kill anyone. He's just going through a stage.
Oh, excuse me. There's the phone.
Oh.
Stay here. I'll be back in a minute.
Yes.
Hello?
June? I never made the beach. I'm at the hospital.
What? What are you talking about? What's the matter?
Lost control of the car going over to Coronado. It just wouldn't steer. It went into the water.
Ed, for heaven's sake.
I wanted you to know before you heard it from someone else. The car is in 8 feet of water.
I'll be right there, darling.
No, you stay where you are. The cops are going to bring me home. I'm okay. I got out in time.
Well, hurry, then. Hurry.
I will.
Mrs. Carpenter, what is it? You're shaking.
That was Ed.
Oh.
He lost control of the car. It went into the water. At Coronado.
Dear me. Is he all right?
Yes, the police are bringing him home.
Oh, thank heaven.
I don't understand it. Ed had a complete annual overhaul on the station wagon last month. But they would have found anything wrong with the steering.
Oh, you think so?
Please, stay with me, Mrs. Nathanson. I'm so upset. I don't want to be alone.
I will, of course. Can I get you something?
Oh, yes, there's some aspirin in the cupboard over the sink. I could use it.
Oh, all right, I'll get it. Now, you sit right there. Oh, this is curious. Oh, here's your aspirin. I found this on the kitchen table.
Oh, no.
It says mist. Just the one word, mist.
That's his writing. Rodney's.
What does he mean, mist?
On top of Ed's accident. Oh, he's a fiend.
Oh, but the child couldn't possibly have had anything to do with the car.
I am beginning to wonder.
Mrs. Carpenter, I think you're letting yourself
I don't want Ed to see that paper.
Oh, do you still have the other note?
Yes.
I wonder. My sister's quite good at handwriting analysis. She's helped the police department several times. Perhaps if she looked at Rodney's writing, she could tell us something about his character. It's quite revealing.
That is a good idea. Would she?
And how is Mr. Carpenter? That accident yesterday shook him terribly.
He's staying in bed today.
Ah.
We have to go to the club dance tonight. He's the president. We can't miss it. Oh, I wish we could cancel.
Oh, now, don't worry. Everything will be fine. And don't forget, I'll be sitting with Rodney. But I really came over to tell you what my sister says about his handwriting.
Oh, yes, what?
Well, she couldn't be as thorough as she usually is because the letters are printed, not written.
Yes?
Of course, I didn't tell her a thing about who Rodney is. She didn't even know he was a child.
What did she say?
Now, this is so curious. She said she got the impression, just the feeling, mind you, that the person was a very old man.
An old man?
Now, she admitted it was just a feeling.
But an old man? What did she say when you told her Rodney's only 12?
Well, she looked rather strange and said, I'd never have guessed it.
Hi. I couldn't stay in bed another minute.
Oh, how are you feeling, Mr. Carpenter?
Shaky, but okay. Hey, those look like Rodney's notes.
They are, Ed. Mrs. Nathanson's sister analyzed his handwriting. She's an expert.
Oh, you didn't tell me about this.
Oh, well, she did it last night. I just brought them back.
And what did she say?
She thought that Rodney was an old man.
What?
Well, she couldn't tell much because the letters were printed.
No. Mm-hmm. Did June ask you about tonight, Mrs. Nathanson?
Oh, yes. I'm happy to come over.
I got to go downtown to see about the car. I'll be home around 2.
Please, drive carefully. I still feel uneasy with that child in this house.
Well, he's troubled, and it's understandable after all he's been through. But really, Mrs. Carpenter, I hardly think he's dangerous.
Well, Mrs. Nathanson, we won't be late.
That's all right. Enjoy yourselves. Heaven knows you deserve it.
I wouldn't even go to this dinner dance at all with Rodney here, but as president of the club, I have to be there.
You know the club number if you need us.
Of course. But nothing's going to happen. If Rodney does come down, maybe he'd like a game of checkers. Don't have to talk to play that.
Let's go, June.
Well, bye, and relax. Everything's going to be all right here.
Oh, help yourself to anything in the refrigerator. There's a fresh cream pie and coffee's in the pot.
Oh, thank you. Have fun. My, that pie does look good. Oh, you startled me. You're Rodney. Well, I'm glad to meet you at last. I'm Mrs. Nathanson. You're just in time for some delicious cream pie. You don't want any? Oh, I'm surprised. I thought all 12-year-old boys had an empty pit. I wish you wouldn't stare at me like that. You're going to write something? Oh, good. Let's see. Do I like butterflies? Oh, why, yes. I think they're very beautiful. Another note. I'd like to see your collection. Oh, I'd love to, Rodney. How many do you have? Oh, it's upstairs. Okay. Lead the way. Oh, so this is your room, Rodney. It's very nice. Oh, but it's so hot and stuffy. Oh, dear me, let's open a window. It's midsummer and you have all the windows closed. There, that's better. Now, let's see your butterflies. Well, aren't you going to show me your collection? Rodney, why are you staring like that? Rodney, don't come any closer to me. I don't like it. Rodney, what's the matter with you? Rodney!
As I said at the start of our excursion into the macabre, babysitting can be an experience of chilling proportions. Rodney is indeed a handful, and he still has 2 more days to spend with the Carpenters. Frankly, I'd take him over my knee and give him what he deserves. We'll find out what else Rodney is up to when I return shortly with Act 3. The Carpenter household, once so quiet and serene, hasn't been the same since Rodney arrived. The Carpenters expected that the routine of their lives would change when they agreed to take care of the child for a week, but never in their wildest dreams did they imagine just how drastic the change would be. At the moment, they're trying to enjoy the dinner dance at the club without much success.
Edgar, can't we leave?
It'll only be another hour. What's going to happen?
I don't know. I just would feel better if we were back home.
I call if it'll make you feel better. Talk to Mrs. Nathanson.
I think I will. Do you think I should, warn her?
Now, don't scare the poor woman. Rodney's certainly not going to threaten her.
I'll be back in a minute.
Hello?
Who's this?
Well, who is this?
Oh, excuse me. I must have the wrong number.
Now, wait a minute, ma'am. Who did you want?
The Carpenter residence, Mrs. Nathanson. Who are you?
I have to know who you are, ma'am.
Well, I'm Mrs. Carpenter. Mrs. Nathanson is babysitting for me.
Oh. I'm police, Mrs. Carpenter.
Police?
Officer Dugan.
What is it? Good Lord, what's happened?
An accident, Mrs. Carpenter. Can you come right away?
Yes, right away. I can't believe it. Mrs. Nathanson.
A neighbor out for a walk saw the body lying next to the house. We think she fell from the upper window.
Rodney's room.
We haven't been able to get a word out of the boy. I'm glad you're here.
If only we'd stayed home.
The boy doesn't talk, officer.
Doesn't talk? He's your son?
No. He's my brother's ward, temporarily. We're taking care of him for a week.
Well, you think we can get anything out of him?
We'll try, but he's a strange kid. We'll need a pad and a pencil.
Oh, I got it right here.
Rodney, you've got to answer some questions. What happened to Mrs. Nathanson?
He's shaking his head no.
Yes, you do know, Rodney. You were here with Mrs. Nathanson. She was found on the ground outside your bedroom window. Now, what happened? Answer me.
Yeah, the kid's frightened, and it's getting late. Put him to bed. We'll try to talk to him in the morning.
Okay. Go to bed, Rodney.
I'll take him up.
There'll be an autopsy. It'll probably show she died of injuries from the fall. I hope that kid can tell us what happened.
Ed, wake up.
Huh? What's the matter?
Ed, Rodney's just gone downstairs.
What time is it?
4 o'clock.
Well, I'll get up and see what the kid's up to. Rodney?
I'll come with you.
Rodney, where are you?
He can't answer. We'll have to find him.
I don't trust that kid wandering around the house. You know, he's liable to come at us with a butcher's knife.
Ed. The front door. He went out.
Turn on the light.
Why would he be going outside?
Rodney, get in here.
Can you see him?
No.
He might be running away.
Huh. We should be so lucky. Rodney, we know you're out here. Now, come on in. Right now.
I don't like this. I'm getting frightened.
You go in. You're cold. I'll find him.
I don't want to be alone.
He could be hiding anywhere. Shrubs.
The front door.
Little devil tricked us. He doubled back inside. Come on.
What's he trying to do to us?
Rodney! Rodney, come here. Right here, right now.
Oh, this is giving me the willies.
He's deliberately trying to bait us.
I'm not going back to bed until I know where he is.
Well, we know he's in the house.
Do we?
And we heard the front door slam when we were outside.
That's all we heard. How do we know he actually came in?
Well, when you put it that way, how do we know he actually went out?
Why is he doing this?
Because he's a malicious brat, that's why. We're not playing into his hands anymore. It's ridiculous to be terrorized by a 12-year-old.
I keep thinking about Mrs. Nathanson. Oh, this whole night's been one horror.
Well, Rodney knows damn well what happened, but how do we get it out of him?
But what can we do?
We're going back upstairs.
I couldn't sleep if my life depended on it.
Yeah? Well, it won't. I don't know what he's up to, but there's nothing he can do to us. Look, I'm not looking for him anymore.
Oh, it's starting to get light.
I might as well get dressed. The police will be back later this morning. And if Rodney's not here, I don't give a damn.
Ed, his door's closed.
There's no way it could be.
But he's in bed.
Hello?
Ed, it's George. How's it going?
Oh, you should ask. Where are you?
New York. Flew in last night. Brought a visitor from England back with us. Listen, how'd you get along with Rodney?
Why didn't you tell me he was a little fiend?
What do you mean?
Well, he never said a word the whole week.
Oh, I know. He writes notes to us, too.
That's only half of it.
Well, anything happened to you?
Yeah, we had a tragedy. Our neighbor was sitting with Rodney when we went to the club. She fell out the bedroom window.
What?
And our cat died.
Sylvester? Hey, you have had a week.
Yeah, and it all happened with Rodney here.
Come on, he's just a kid. You don't think
I can't get into it now, George, but the minute he gets off that plane, find someplace else for him.
Ed, what's the matter with you?
I'm telling you, the minute he gets off that plane, take him to some welfare agency or whatever.
Sure, Ed, sure. You put him on the plane tomorrow. It's flight 704.
With the greatest pleasure.
Okay. I'll meet him at this end.
You're welcome to him.
I'm sorry you think he caused you so much trouble. Anyway, I appreciate you taking care of him. I owe you one, Ed.
Forget it. I'm trying to.
Okay. I'll meet him at Kennedy tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, George. Bye. Oh. Rodney. I didn't hear you. You're going back tomorrow. You want to know something, kid? I still think you pushed Mrs. Nathanson out the window. And I still think you had something to do with the cat. No response, huh? I can't prove it. I wish I could. Come here. Closer. Yeah, June's right. There isn't anything behind those eyes of yours. What are you? Well, I don't mind telling you, kid. I'll be glad to see you off tomorrow.
Can't find Rodney. We've got to leave in 10 minutes.
Oh, it's another one of his tricks. Like Thursday night? If it's the last thing I do, I'll get him on that plane.
Maybe he's afraid to go back.
Oh, he's not afraid of anything. I'll put his stuff in the car. We'll find him.
After all that's happened, I still feel kind of sorry. He seems such a lost little boy.
Lost my foot.
Oh. Why, there he is. He's sitting in the car. I never thought of looking there.
Good. He's as anxious to get out of here as we are to see him go. Okay, Rodney, you're on your way. Bye-bye, Rodney. I had to see that plane in the sky before I'd leave. Now let's go home.
That's funny. There's a note on the back seat. I didn't see it when we took his stuff out.
A note?
I can reach it. I can't imagine when he put it there.
What's it say?
Goodbye. It was.
Goodbye, it was?
Well, he must have meant to finish the sentence like, it was nice or it was awful.
Just goodbye and it was?
Yep, that's it.
Well, that's the last of them anyway.
I wish I knew what he was going to add. You know, maybe he was trying to thank us after all.
Bad chance of that. It would have been something sinister. You can bet on that.
I'm still sick over Mrs. Nathanson. We have to go to her funeral this afternoon.
I know. What the?
Ed, you went right through that red light.
The brakes are gone. I'm down to the floor.
Oh, what?
I'll try to gear down.
Stop, Ed. Stop. That truck's coming right on through.
I can't.
Well, I'm glad you could come to the airport with me, Mrs. Parker. Helen hates the trip.
Oh, well, I'm here to see New York. I want to see as much as I can.
Passengers are coming through the gate now. There he is. Hey, Rodney. Over here, Rodney.
Rather a pale young lad, isn't he?
Well, I feel sorry for him. I hope they find him a good home soon. His parents were killed in a car accident.
Oh.
He was living with his grandmother until she died from a fall.
How tragic. Well, it's nice of you and your wife to take him in.
Rodney, I want you to meet Mrs. Parker. She's from England, and she's staying with us for a while.
How do you do, Rodney?
She'll be sharing your room with you. You don't have to be embarrassed. Mrs. Parker has grandchildren older than you.
Just think of me as a grandmother. I'm sure we'll be good friends. Won't we, Rodney?
Oh, I think so, Mrs. Parker. You're going to like Rodney.
Well, I certainly don't. I've been thinking over that last curious note Rodney left the Carpenters, Ed and June. Just goodbye, and it was. Too bad they didn't realize in time, just before their deaths in that terrible crash. Ed had said he'd get Rodney on the plane if it was the last thing he did. Now we know Rodney's cryptic reply. It was. More about Rodney when I return in just a moment. Who is Rodney? The bad seed? A bad boy who can't help himself? Or perhaps a demon from another time, destined to spend eternity causing identical tragedies wherever he goes? The empty eyes, the extra strength, and that curious mistake of Mrs. Nathanson's sister, thinking he was very old. Or was it a mistake? We can only speculate. Our cast included Patricia Elliott, Tony Roberts, Bryna Rayburn, and Earl Hammond. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. days, so many of us measure our efforts to help people purely in...
On National Public Radio, NPR Playhouse presents Nightfall.
In the dream, you are falling, lost in the listening distance, as dark locks in. Nightfall. Good evening. Do you know where your children are? Do you know what they're thinking about when they're thinking about you? Do you know where your parents are? The play by Bill Gray of CBC Calgary is called Gerald.
Gerald, he wants to talk to you.
What? Who?
That man over there, he wants to talk to you.
What are you talking about? There's no one there.
Not there. There. See, he's waving at you.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not waving at me, you know. He just wants to find... Hey, where are you going?
He's coming over here. I don't want to talk to him. You talk to him. He's your friend. Don't like that guy. You talk to him.
Come on, Ricky. Just a minute, will you? Ricky, come on back now. Hi. I've got to get back, you know, for supper. So I'll see you. No, I can't do that. It's too awful. You shouldn't ask me, you know, because it's not... No! Hey! Oh, that hurts, don't! Ah! Please don't. Thank you. I'm sorry. I just forgot, that's all. I can do it. I'll do it for you. It wasn't really that hard.
So I went over to the garage with him and had a look. Well, it looks pretty bad even to me. You know how much I know about cars.
Dad, Mom, can I be excused?
What? I guess so. But you've hardly touched your food, Gerald. I thought you loved fish.
Yeah, I guess I'm not hungry. Excuse me.
Are you feeling all right, son? You look a bit pale.
Oh, I'm all right, Dad. I'm just kind of tired, I guess. I think I'll lie down, take a nap.
Okay. Some tea, dear?
Oh, thanks. That's sure not like him. Usually can't even bribe him into taking a nap.
Well, he's growing. Happens to all kids eventually.
I suppose so. But he seems to be acting so... I don't know. The last few days he's just seemed so much quieter than usual, that's all.
He'll be all right, Sarah. Well, I'd better finish up and get back to that sermon. Nearly finished. If I can just simply figure out exactly how to put it when I tell them about the new I've... No, you drink your tea. I'm getting up anyway. It's probably one of the women from the auxiliary. Winnie tells me they've been having some trouble with the bake sale. Too many butter tarts or something. Hello? Oh, hi, Betty. How are you? What? Oh, no. No, that's... What? Oh, dear Lord. Oh, no. Who? How could anyone do a thing like that? Oh, no. Gerald's heart will be broken. He's had that dog all his life. All right. Yes. Thanks for calling, Betty. All right, thanks. Goodbye.
Alex, what is it? Something happened to Tom?
Sarah, Tom's been killed. That was Betty Tompkins. She found Tom in her backyard about an hour ago. He'd been killed by someone. She called the vet. Thought maybe he was still alive. The vet said he'd been tortured.
It just wasn't hard at all that time. But why did you want me to do it? And why did you... What? Oh, no, I didn't tell anyone. You told me not to, so I didn't, right? Hey, have you got a name? Really? I don't think I could say that. What is it again? No, I couldn't say it. Could I call you something else? No, I couldn't call you that. That's too silly. Why don't I call you Tom, after my dog?
Gerald, mind if I come in?
Sure, come on in.
Gerald, could you turn that down a bit, please?
Sure. Is that okay?
Fine. I thought you were taking a nap.
I was, but I just wasn't tired all of a sudden.
Gerald, I've got some bad news. It's about Tom.
Oh, yeah? Have you seen him? I let him out this morning, but he didn't come back for supper. Funny, he never misses his food, does he? Not usually.
Gerald, Tom's been killed.
How?
Well, he was killed, hit by a car.
Oh, just killed him, huh?
So I gather. I'm very sorry, Gerald.
Oh, that's okay, Dad. Tom was almost 12 years old. That's pretty old for a dog, isn't it? I mean, he'd have died of old age soon anyway, wouldn't he? And, he was getting kind of blind. A couple of days ago, I saw him walk right into the couch in the living room. Didn't even see it. That's probably how the car got him. Guess everybody's got to die sooner or later, eh, Dad? Like it says in the Bible. So I guess even dogs got to die too. Right, Dad?
Alex, over here.
Evening, Larry. Crowded night tonight. I'm surprised I found you.
Always the same on Friday. Here, sit down.
Thank you.
Oh, here, I ordered you a draft.
Oh, thanks, but only one, Larry. I must be a good example to my flock.
Alex, I gotta talk to you.
Problem? Your family's okay?
Oh, fine, but it's, about the dogs. I know you're dead set against anyone trying to do anything, but with the police so busy these days, well, some of the guys were wondering...
No, I can't agree to anything.
Just a minute. Hear me out. Some of the guys are talking, beer talk mostly, trying to find the guy. What I was wondering was if maybe you and I, a couple of the others, could, I don't know, take a look around before anybody else gets carried away.
I think things like that can get very dangerous.
I know. And I'm worried. So you at least think about it.
Yes, I'll think about it.
Hey, thanks, Alex. I know it's only some dogs, but...
But it's hard to imagine how anybody could be so disturbed. Now, Larry, I can't figure out how a man's soul can become so twisted.
You're sure it's some guy doing it?
There seems to be no question about animals. So, it's a man. If you can call him that.
Gerald, is that you?
Ricky, you there?
Over here, by the tree.
Boy, it's really dark out here tonight, isn't it? I could hardly see if you were here yet.
Look, Gerald, you better have something good to show me. If my mom knew I was out this time of night, boy.
She doesn't know, does she?
Of course not. I snuck out like you said. Do your parents know you're out?
Are you kidding? This late? I climbed out of my tree.
Wish I had a tree. I always have to sneak past the living room. It's not easy, you know.
Yeah, going out on the tree is best. Okay, let's go. Just over this way.
What's this all about, anyway? What are you going to show me?
It's something I learned how to do. You remember that man who always talked to me after baseball?
Yeah.
Well, he showed me how to do something. Kind of strange, but it's pretty neat after a while.
I didn't like that guy. Gave me the creeps. I don't think I want to know about him.
It's okay, Ricky, really. Just over here. I'll show you what happens.
I don't know. What if some wild animal comes out and tries to get us?
Oh, that's dumb, Ricky. There aren't any wild animals here. We're too close to town.
Yeah, well, this better be good, whatever it is.
It is, I promise. Okay, now we stop here. And wait a second.
Well, wait. Wait for what? I thought we were going to shoot.
Wait, just a minute. Here he is. Hi, Tom.
Gerald? Who are you talking to?
Here he is. I brought him like you said.
Gerald? What's that? Gerald, something pulling at me. Ah!
Okay, there. I've got it. Here. Hey, that one's really different than the others, Tom.
Alex, I'm glad you could come. The boy's mother is in the waiting room.
All right. Joe, do you think maybe a wolf or a dog could have...
I don't think so, Alex. Now, I've treated animal wounds before. Nothing like this. The boy was mangled, torn apart, but almost surgically. Alex, there was nothing we could do. He was gone before. I'm sure it was really quick.
Joe, do you think what happened to Ricky was the same as with the dogs?
I don't know for sure yet. But from what I heard, it sounds pretty similar.
I guess I was hoping you'd be able to put it down to an animal attack. I hate to think that...
I know. But you had seen the way he had opened up. It was all much too precise and deliberate looking to be an animal. I think Ricky was murdered.
Different, Tom. Not like the dogs at all. What? Oh, yeah. It was a lot neater. Better somehow. And more... or bigger or something. I liked it the best so far. Hey, Tom, I was wondering, what do you do with them after I give them to you? Save them? That's what my father says he does. But I guess it's different with you, eh? Oh, and Tom, how come Ricky screamed like that? Didn't he hear you say it would be all right? How come he screamed? Oh, I see. So they have to scream.
Gerald? Gerald, are you coming down?
Yeah? Oh, Dad, just a minute.
Couldn't have waited till morning, Alex.
Sarah, we've got to find out who's responsible.
But Gerald won't know.
I know he won't, but we've got to quiz all the kids. Find out if they've seen anybody strange.
It's going to be hard on him, Alex. He and Ricky have been best friends for years.
It's hard on all of us, Sarah, but if we don't...
Hi, Mom. Dad, is something wrong, Mom? He's crying.
Gerald, when was the last time you saw Ricky Evans?
Ricky? This afternoon. I guess, right after school. We walked home together.
Now, I want you to remember. Think really carefully. Did you see anyone strange? Anyone you didn't know in the neighborhood?
No.
Are you sure, Gerald? This is very important.
I'm sure, Dad. There was nobody I saw except the other kids. What's the matter? What's going on?
Something terrible has happened, son.
What?
Ricky. Your friend Ricky has passed away.
Oh? When?
Earlier tonight. Ricky was hurt very badly, and he died.
What happened to hurt him?
We don't... No one's sure. Some people think it might be the same...
Dad, where do you figure Ricky will go now? now that he's dead?
Well, I'm sure he'll go to heaven. Now, I know this is upsetting for you, but...
That's okay, Dad. Hey, Mom, you shouldn't cry, you know. He just died, Bob. He's just gone somewhere else. Everybody has to die. Right, Dad? Just like in the Bible. Right, Dad?
Yes, that's right.
Can I go to my room now? I've got a test tomorrow. Don't want to be tired for it.
Well,
Gerald, are you all right? Do you feel all right?
Sure, Mom. See you in the morning.
Good night. Alex, I'm worried about him.
Sarah, he's in shock.
It's not just that.
What do you mean?
Gerald has been acting not himself lately. He seems less active than he used to be since spent so much time alone in his room.
That's pretty normal for a boy his age.
I know that, but there's something different. Look at how Ricky's death hasn't fazed him at all. That's more than shock, and he's so humorless lately. Nothing seems to make him laugh or cry.
Well, when this is all over, I'll have a talk with him.
When what is all over?
Well, Larry and I and a couple of others have decided to form a small group. See if we can't find out who killed Ricky.
That's for the police.
Perhaps, but they haven't turned up anything, so
Alex, there is something seriously wrong with your son. That must come first. This manhunt is none of your business.
It is my business. Every Sunday, I get up on that pulpit and tell people about the basic goodness of man, and then something like this happens. I've got to stop it. I've got to know why.
Right here, Larry.
More or less. Over there in that clearing. Can you see it?
I can just make it out.
Well, that's where we found him. Looks like he's been dragged a ways and then propped up against that tree.
Dear Lord. Well, if there's anything to the business of criminals returning to the scene of the crime, somehow, though, I doubt it.
Alex, any idea who it might be? I mean, do you think it might be somebody from town?
I won't even let myself consider it. But whoever it is a sick person. I don't know why or how people can... I can't find a way to explain it, Larry.
Yeah, well, it sure doesn't make any sense, does it?
Why does he let it happen? Why does a God of love take away an innocent and by the hand of someone so twisted? I can't find the logic sometimes, Larry. I don't understand sometimes.
I just hope we find the bastard before he does anything else. Hey, what was that?
What?
I thought I heard a noise just past that big oak. Can't see, though, not enough moon. Look, just over there. Hey, there it is again.
Right over that way.
I'll go take a look. You stay here. If it's anything, I'll try and get him between us.
Larry, just be careful.
Right. Probably just a raccoon or something. Somebody there? Hey, look, you better come out of there, okay? Look, I got a gun here. Now, why don't you just come out of there?
Hi, Mr. Johnson. Are you going to shoot me?
What? Gerald, what the hell are you doing here? Don't you know there's a curfew on? You're not supposed to be out here.
We just thought we'd help out. Are you going to shoot us, Mr. Johnson?
Don't be ridiculous. Of course not. You just scared me half to... What do you mean, us? Hey, who else is out here with you?
My friend, Tom.
Yeah? And where's he hiding?
Nowhere. He's right here. You just can't see him.
All right, you tell your friend to come on out, and we'll get you out of here. Your father's waiting for me, and I don't think he's going to be too happy about finding you here. Tom, come on out. Let's go, son.
You don't understand, Mr. Johnson. You can't see Tom unless he wants you to. And I guess he doesn't want you to right now. But here, come on over and you can shake hands with him.
Now, look here, Gerald. I think you'd better stop this nonsense and come out. What the hell?
Tom doesn't like waiting very much.
Oh, my God, my head. What's happening to...
Okay, son. Here, I got it. There you are. Wow, that's even nicer than Ricky's. Okay, Tom. I'm gonna get back up the tree and sneak back in before Mom notices I'm gone. You coming up or what? Oh, so I guess I'll see you tomorrow when we... Uh-oh, there's Dad. He sure came back fast. I better hide, Tom. He'd see me in the tree. What? Tonight? Okay, well, I better talk to Dad first. Wait for me, okay? Dad? Dad, is that you?
Gerald?
Over here, Dad.
Gerald, what are you doing out at this time of night? I told you there was a curfew, and I expected you to understand.
It's all right, Dad. I'm okay.
No, it is not all right. There's some maniac loose in the neighborhood, and I don't want you outside in the middle of... Gerald, what are you doing out here?
Nothing. Just fooling around, I guess.
Gerald, what's been going on here?
Hey, don't get mad. I'll tell you what happened.
I guess you'd better.
Well, something horrible has happened. This man...
What? Has somebody hurt you?
No, it's okay now. But you'd better come and look in the garage.
What's in there?
You just better come and look, Dad. It'll be easier.
All right. There. Now what's going on?
Okay, Tom.
What? Who are you talking to?
Tom. He's a friend of mine. But you can't see him unless you...
Oh, my God.
Oh, you can't see him. Great. He said he might let you see him on account of your special. Sort of like me.
Merciful Jesus, what are you?
Do I confirm or disturb your faith, Reverend?
Dear God in heaven.
Oh, not much point in calling to him, Reverend. You see, he doesn't exist. Never did, in fact.
Gerald, what do you know of this creature?
Gerald knows me very well.
A ghost. You're a ghost. I can see right through you.
So you can.
Yeah, Dad. Tom's just a guy from one of the places you go after you die.
Hades. The place of hellfire. It's all true, then. What have you done to my son, Satan?
Not easily convinced, are you? But perhaps I am your Satan, Reverend. I do take the souls of your people. Not a soul, really, but something you would think of as a soul.
He will come in many disguises.
Your faith is right about one thing. There is life after death. Many other worlds exist on many different planes. After leaving this life, people go on to another, and then from there to another, and so on. A series of lives.
But you...
I come from one of these other worlds. A very different world from this one.
And you come here and kill?
Well, yes, but with reason. On my world, there are advantages to having certain kinds of powers. A long time ago, I discovered that a life energy, what you might call a soul, could be absorbed in such a way as to add to that power. So every now and then, when I am in need of a kind of strength, I visit your world. I'm afraid I may have been the cause of some of your religious superstitions.
What have you done to my son?
Nothing much. A little training, a lending of some power. You see, I'm not able to work completely alone.
Satan, possessing my son.
That's not really true. But I did need Gerald's help. As you can see, there is so little of me that I can actually bring to your world that I would have problems doing two things at once. So, as I am disposing of someone, Gerald catches their soul as they move in the confusion between this life and the next. A confusion intensified by surprise and pain.
Gerald, get out of here quickly.
There is one tragedy with my business here, though. Unfortunately, when I take a soul, its identity is lost. It ceases to exist. So, perhaps, Reverend, there is a hell after all. Nothingness. Complete oblivion. Think of it, Reverend. A complete end. Nothing more to come.
No, that can't be.
Now, Gerald.
What are you? No!
Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it. Boy, this one's really big.
His faith was strong, but he doubted. That's all we needed. Let me have it now.
No, I'm keeping it for myself.
What? You can't.
It's my turn now, Tom. I know how to do it now. All of it. I'll keep them all, like this one. It makes me feel really strong. Really strong. Tom, you'd better go away now. You don't belong here. This is my world. I think I could hurt you if I wanted to.
Alex, is that you?
It's me, Mom.
Gerald, what are you doing down there?
Hey, Mom, come on downstairs for a minute. I've got something I want to show you.
You have just heard Gerald by Bill Gray. Featured tonight in his first radio role was Danny Hyam as Gerald, with Mary Perry as Sarah and Neil Baynard as Alex. You heard Billy May Richards as Ricky, with Eric Peterson as Larry. John Stocker played the Doctor, as well as the mysterious Tom. Our recording engineer is Brian Pape, with sound effects by Matt Wilcott, and our production assistant is Peggy Este. Tonight's program was produced and directed by the series' executive producer, Bill Howell. And now, here is a final word from your host.
Hello again. Next week's Nightfall features a new play on a theme that is becoming uncomfortingly familiar to regular listeners. That of finding missing bodies.
I wonder if they use these on Jim.
What? These instruments.
Well, you shouldn't play with them, honey. You might cut yourself. There is something wrong here.
Honey?
I don't know what it is, but I think they blew it. He wasn't special enough, you see. I think they're so worried about Mr. Big they made a mistake, and they killed him.
Oh, that's silly, honey. Dr. Druitt is not the kind of person...
I want to see my husband.
Well, honey, there's nothing I can do.
Miss Novak, either I see my husband now before they clean up the evidence, or I'm going to stick this scalpel in your innocent little face.
Special Services. A new play by Martin Kinch, directed by Paul Mills. Next week on Nightfall. Until then, careful of the edge.
Funds for the distribution of this NPR Playhouse presentation were provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. This is NPR, National Public Radio.
That's our show for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. And remember, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/terror1970, or you can find me on Instagram at Radio Show Nerd. I also have a YouTube channel, Terror Radio. Please check it out. Subscribe, like, and share the videos. will be highly appreciated. Again, this is your host, Keith, better known as the Radio Show Nerd, signing off.